all feel about red meat consumption? Have you ever thought about all of the consequences that come with eating just one serving of red meat a day? Before you plan to make yourself or your family a dinner with red meat, you may want to think before you eat. Today I am going to explain to you why red meat is bad for you and bad for your health. I hope to better your health in the long run with the following information. This is a serious issue that every American should be aware of. This information should be deeply thought about when you choose your next steak or rib dinner. This topic concerns you, your friends, and your family. Do you want your children to have a genetically increased risk of developing serious diseases? I'm a dietetics major and I have taken many classes about the different foods and different components within the foods that can benefit your health and even harm your health. I feel confident that I have participated and learned enough to better explain to you why red meat is bad for your health. The classes I have taken have dealt with carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. A main concern about red meat has to do with its fat component. It is obvious that this country is filled with obesity and diseases that are traced back to the food we put into our bodies. This country is being taken over by fast food and even fast food hamburgers. If we can get our choices of consumption under control, we can possibly lower the overall incidence of these diseases. This is a very important topic for our future and the health of our country. Red meat is bad for your health because it can cause cancer, cardiovascular disease, and ultimately lead to death. For you women who like red meat, you should rethink eating it due to the fact that it can cause breast cancer. A study at Harvard University looked at women who eat a lot of meat. They watched these women for 20 years. The study showed that women that ate a lot of meat had a 35% increase in developing breast cancer. According to Harvard University, red meat has been shown to release cancer-causing byproducts when cooked at high temperatures. This looks like a double-edged sword to me. So we cook red meat to high temperatures and it releases cancerous byproducts. But then what if we try to cook the red meat at lower temperatures and don't cook it all the way? That can cause bacteria that can also be harmful for our health. Does red meat really taste that good that you ladies would risk the development of breast cancer? Another reason why you shouldn't eat red meat is because it can cause cardiovascular disease. Red meat comes from cows, and cows don't get a lot of exercise, so there's more fat within their muscle, which is the part that we tend to eat. The fat in red meats are where all the blood pressure and heart problems come from. According to the Department of Nutrition at Harvard University, they conclude that both unprocessed and processed red meats increase the cause of coronary heart disease. Researchers promote more intake of lean white meat rather than red meat. Also, the Health Reference Center says that the Western-style diet generally is high in red meats and animal fats, and low in fruits, vegetables, and fiber. This has been implicated as risk factors for obesity, heart disease, and some cancers. The red meats have high amounts of saturated fat that contribute to the cause of cardiovascular disease. Now that you know about the high possibility of red meat consumption causing cancer and cardiovascular disease, I want to tell you about the third and most serious reason why you should avoid eating red meat. Red meat can lead to death. When you eat red meat all the time, you are increasing your risk of developing serious diseases, and these serious diseases can lead to death. The Vegetarian Journal says that 1 serving per day increase in total red meat consumption was associated with 16% higher risk of dying of heart disease and 10% higher risk of dying of cancer. brought this handout if you guys could look at it for just a brief second. So this shows the relative risk of death across different levels of red meat consumption. The blue line shows all-cause mortality. The red line shows cardiovascular mortality. And the yellow line shows cancer mortality. So all of these deaths were ultimately caused by red meat consumption. The red meat consumption caused cardiovascular disease, and then cardiovascular disease caused the death. So the highest mortality of red meat consumption was cardiovascular disease. The second was all-cause mortality, so that's just any death that was ultimately caused by red meat consumption. And then the third was cancer mortality caused by red meat consumption. To decrease the risk of developing diseases and even dying, you should stop eating red meat right away. If you want to eat meat, then you should stick to more lean white meats. Breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, and death are just a few reasons why you should avoid eating red meat for the sake of your own health. Women should stay away from red meat to eliminate the risk that they can develop breast cancer. Cardiovascular disease is a common disease that comes with old age. This is also very preventable with moderating your diet and less consumption of red meat. Death is something that everyone fears. With red meat consumption, there has been a very high increase of mortality. This can also be easily avoided. I hope you all leave here today thinking about eliminating red meat from your everyday diet. It's okay sometimes, but definitely not every day. This is an important topic for everyone. Consumption of red meat should always be avoided due to the harm that it does to your health and that it can even kill us. Thank you.